today by senior cornerback Malcolm Pinnell and sophomore wide receiver Ernest Calhoun. Coach?
Again, coming off another tough loss against a tough opponent, Virginia. Guys battled hard. We had great effort, in the first half. We turned the ball over in the first half, but our defense did a good job of getting a couple back for us to keep us in it. Had a chance to put some points on the board to make it a little bit closer going into the halftime, but it didn't happen. Their guy made a great play. And then we just couldn't overcome the turnovers in the second half and kind of got a little bit worn down. So, but a lot of good efforts, a lot of good things. Probably our best, you take away the sack yardage and probably our best game at running the football, which we did a good job at. Again, when it gets a couple scores up, it's tough to stick with it, to try to get back into the game. But very pleased with what, the next coming weeks and future holds with that, because we're doing a better job with that. And that's kind of what we went into this game, making sure that we did, But it doesn't get any easier. Northern's a very good football team, arguably one of the best teams in this conference year in and year out. They're a good football team right now. They're coming off of a bye, so I'm sure they got rested up and, got a little bit healthy, but our guys will be ready to roll come Saturday.
How much of the turnovers the last couple of weeks are you, and how much is it just the level of competition?
I think the level of competition has a lot to do with it also, too. But those are things that we talk about that is in our plan to win that we can't do. And do you win those games? I don't know, but it gives you a better chance to win those games if we don't do it. So that's what we got to make sure that we continue to concentrate on and focus on, and we can't. We got to eliminate them because we're getting them. I mean, we're getting them. We're just, we're giving too many away.
How much of it is execution? How much of it is just over anxious? Or
that's what it is. It's just trying to do too much, I never thought, and we talked on Sunday as a team, our guys are giving great effort. And our preparation, I think these guys will agree, our preparation going into this game was probably one of the best since I've been here, as far as guys practice, as far as watching film, the whole nine, all the way up until, Saturday morning. It's probably been the best that we've ever been as far as the guys focused and ready to roll. But, when you start losing and the frustration starts, you just try to do a little bit more and more and more, and you end up usually screwing it up. So it goes back to the stay within the plan, execution.
I don't know if this is a fair question or not, but I'm just curious with the way you ended that. Going away from the game plan, meaning one play is called, but Colin or the quarterback will try to do something different just because he thinks he sees something?
No, just to sit there and say that it's okay to punt. Just don't take a negative play. Throw the ball in the third row. And as a player and competitor, what you try to do is keep the play alive a little bit longer, and trying to wait till a guy gets open, which but they had two destructive defensive ends. Those guys were good, and just run you down, and you end up turning the ball over. So
speaking of which, your defense, you mentioned it this morning on the teleconference, the depth starting to show up. That hadn't been the case in the past. Where'd you kind of lose some of that? I maybe in the back end a little bit, but I thought up front on the line and even at linebacker, you had started developing the depth that you wanted.
Yeah, well, when Strick got hurt, and hopefully we should have Strick back this week, so we'll be in better shape, at the linebacker, spot. Up front, of course, when you lose Fairchild, that hurt us with our depth at nose, and now you got two true freshmen, at the two nose spot starting, and backing up. And then really a couple other guys just got to play a little bit better for us, So we're just kind of getting worn down as the game goes on, to where we need some other guys to be able to step in there, give those guys a spell.
flipping back to Colin real quick, it's, you know, I believe he went 3 or 4 games as a freshman and didn't turn it over. Was really a strength at that point. Is it a lot of times you have this quote-unquote sophomore jinx or whatever you want to call it, anything like that? I mean, now that he's played a few games, like you say, pressing, maybe just can you kind of talk about where he's at right now?
Well, I think that's I don't believe in jinxes, you know. I believe in execution. I believe in just doing what you're supposed to do, and that's it. And, you know, again, I think across the board, and like I said, I think these guys will agree. You get in this situation when you want to win so bad and you know you got chances to sit there and win, and you just try to do a little bit more. And every time you try to do a little bit more, you end up putting yourself in a worse position. So Colin just has to get back to doing the things that we asked him to do, and that's it. And, you know, hand the ball to the official after every play and punt. It's okay. And that's what we got to get back to make sure that we truly understand that. And you know, you can't this week, next week, the week before, you're playing quality opponents. You can't turn the ball over, bottom line, you know. So, and I'm not saying he doesn't know that. He does know that. But just, you know, you got those guys coming off the edge that are pretty good. You got only about 1.72 seconds to throw the football. If you ain't there, throw it in the stands. Play another down.
Confidence-wise, how is he right now? How's he handling?
I'm sure, just like all of us, we're battered and bruised about it, you know, in confidence. Just because, not the fact that of the record, the fact that you know you can do better. I think that's a frustration in itself when you know that you can do better, that you know that you can play better, and you haven't. And you know, you look at the scores, and the scores aren't what is showing. It's not indicative to how we're playing, you know, per se. But we have to do a lot of things better to help ourselves. And I said it after the game to these guys: we can't beat 2 teams. We can't beat ourselves and the other opponent. We just got to focus on our opponent and don't shoot ourselves in the foot. And right now, penalties and turnovers have been our Achilles.
How much of it, too, is, you know, you mentioned the running game's getting a little better, but
Yeah.
yet it's been a struggle all year, and obviously that puts more on you.
Yeah, I think that, but also, too, you know, we're getting better at running the football. And I think the better we get at it, the more pressure it takes off of him, you know, to sit there and have to think that you have to make plays. So we'll continue to do those things because it's what I believe in.
About running, I thought by now we'd be seeing more of Hibbler, and he didn't even run Saturday.
Hibbler's injured his back on Thursday. So that's why Murray was in there a lot more. Miles didn't even play on special units. He should be good right now.
Where is he now in his maturation in terms of the offense and what's
He's a freshman, you know, so I don't think he's a premier back, you know, by any means right now. I think, you know, Nick Holly is our running back, and, you know, we can spell him with Murray and Miles.
Just one more quick one on the quarterback. You've given Strock some series in non-conference games. Does that change coming in now that you're back in the league?
No, I still think Colin is our best option. I think Colin is our best option to win football games. And, you know, you never know as the season goes on how things progress as far as injuries and everything like that. But, you know, at least Strock now has gotten into battle. But I'm not a 2-quarterback guy. You know, that's not the system that we run.
What is it about Strock that right now you don't think he's quite ready to take over? Or is it more you don't want that for Colin? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think Colin still is a good quarterback. I still think Colin gives us the best chance to win. There's just a couple things that we have to do. Again, yeah, we did turn the ball over, you know, but that's a fundamental and technique thing. The very first one that was a pick six, you throw it 6 inches farther and it's a completion. You know, so it's a lot of fundamental and technique that you got to get better at. But, you know, that evaluation is done all during the week. and we still evaluate like crazy, and he gives us our best option to win.
Ernest, the offense came through with a few third and long conversions. You were one of them. That hasn't happened a lot this year. Can you
things will work for you, like converting on third down.
Malcolm, talk a little bit, you're gonna, maybe not this week, but as the weeks go, you're gonna start running into more and more passing quarterbacks in the league.
Right.
Just kind of prepping for that and getting ready for, conference play. I mean, that's been conference play actually the last 3 or 4 years, guys, just throwing it all over the place.
Well, honestly, I honestly feel like our DBs is ready. I feel like our DBs is really strong this year, all around the board, from star to safety to corner. We got good players around there, and honestly, we like it when the quarterback throws the ball. So I think we'll be ready, especially come MAC play. Coming from Ohio State and Virginia, 2 teams that they threw the ball on us, but I don't think nobody's going to be up to their par.
I'm just curious for both of you guys, and when you play those bigger teams like that have so much more depth and guys that maybe are a little faster, guys a little taller, that kind of thing, how do you keep it from wearing you down as opposed to getting something out of it? And to be able to use as you get into conference play?
I mean, you just got to get better every play. I mean, going up against guys like that, honestly, that's what you want to do. Those are the guys you want to play. Like, going up against them, I'm not saying that they're going to be better than the guys in our conference, but you could look at it in that way and say, I played against the best already, and just put that in your mindset and just get better.
Just basically playing against good competition is what you really want to do. I mean, you want to play against the best just to not only see how you match up against them, but just to continue to get better, just like he said, getting better every play or getting better every game. That's just what you do against every opponent.
You kind of talk about getting back into that play. I mean, coach has kind of stressed through this rough stretch that it's all building up to getting back in the MAC and being ready for that. Just kind of talk about here you are now back in the season that really matters again.
I mean, everything's right where we want it. We still got a chance to win the MAC. We came into the season knowing that was our goal. And, the first half of the season is done. We only had 1 MAC game, but if you look at the standings, we're fine. We're right where we want to be, but everything's still on the map. Everything's still a go.
Yeah, it's good to know that our team and our teammates can put the first half of the season behind us, and knowing that we can still, go out there and continue to get better and still have a chance to win the MAC is a good feeling.
And obviously, no one's really going to give you much of a chance coming into this game in particular because of who you're playing.
Yeah, well, being the underdog is always funner. I always like to be, nobody expects anything from you, so that gives you the reason to go out there and give it your best, to give it your all, because nobody thinks you're worth anything almost.
I mean, I just feel like we're gonna win. I mean, it's NIU. Everybody hypes NIU, talks about NIU, but I mean, you look at it. The game last year, we was in the game last year. Just small mistakes. I mean, they're just mental mistakes that we just gotta eliminate. That's it. But I know we play the way we can play, eliminate the mistakes, continue to get turnovers. We're gonna beat them.
Do you ever feel extra pressure on the defense when the offense isn't quite clicking yet? This is years back, even before you got here, but when the offense would struggle, the defense always really had to kind of come through. Do you guys feel that as a pressure at all?
I mean, we don't really feel like it as a pressure, but I will say as a defense, we do need to start not focusing on more on the offense and just worrying about the defense, because we could put the blame on the offense as much as we want, but if they don't score, they don't win. And that goes back to us.
Paul, you talk about Northern Illinois a little bit. I mean, just look at talent-wise, are they comparable to Virginia?
Yeah, they're comparable to Virginia and Ohio State. They're a tough opponent. I think they're very good, and it's been proven year in and year out. That's why they're talked about so much. I think their coach does a great job. They're very well coached. Me and Coach Neiman, their defensive coordinator, coached together at Northern Iowa, and he's a very good coach. It's a tough opponent. I mean, very tough opponent, and we have to play well. We got to be ready for a physical game. They're a physical style type of offense and defense. They have a lot of experience. I know everyone talks about the guys that have left, but they got a lot of guys came back that are very good players also too. So it's going to be a tough environment, tough place, tough football team. So like these guys said, that's why you come here, to sit there and have great competition week in and week out. And we know we were going to have great competition week in and week out. So by any means, we use anything as an excuse. We got to go execute and play. And if we do those things, you'll have a chance to sit there and win. If you don't, then you won't.
They ran the ball really well against you last year.
Yeah.
Same tailback back,
Yeah.
same guys actually, offensive line. When you look at it, is there something you see there, hey, we can do X better? Or is it just a matter of strapping up?
Yeah, I think, and again, they've kind of gone through a quarterback kind of monopoly a little bit with the three guys, but I think the dynamics of them last year were a little bit different when you're talking about Jordan Lynch, and you have to really do a good job on him, and that's why I think they ran the ball so well on us last year, just because you're overcompensating for him, and they ran in between the tackles, very well. So I think that was a huge part of their success against us running the football. But, we know that we have to stop the run against them. I mean, I do a lot as far as charting and drawing and everything, and they've had 162 passes, and 30 of them are 10 yards or more, and most of them are screens and under 5 yards and things like that to get the ball out, quick and they do a lot of, kind of window dressing with motions and everything. But, those are the things that we got to make sure that we do a little bit better job on of just gap control. That's what we didn't do last year, is gap control, and we got to make sure that we do it this year.
You mentioned your young guys up front, the two nose guards. Anybody else up there, young guys that are coming around? And how are those guys still, or have they hit the wall a little bit?
I don't think they've hit the wall. I think, when you play nose tackle in Division I football, it's tough. And, it's totally different from where they were last year. And that's why I'm glad we got both of them to sit there and use them, because we can spell them. But Jonte Bird is playing a little bit better for us, and we moved him to that 3 technique. I know he had a big play in that game with the interception. But even before then, he's doing a good job, for us at the 3 technique. So they just got to continue to get better. But you're talking about 2 freshmen and sophomore.
Their defense was kind of an afterthought with Lynch, and now it seems like they're playing really well defensively.
Yeah.
What do you see as the difference there? Who's kind of standing out?
They do a lot of good things up front, a lot of movement up front, which causes a ton of problems, on the offensive line as far as, run blocking and also pass protection. And they're just active. They're not very big. I mean, they're not a huge, front, but they're super active, and they cause a lot of problems with their movement, So, like I said, like you just said, that the focus was really on the guys that they lost. But there's a lot of good ones that came back that have really bought into their system, and their system is physical. They're going to play physical brand of football and an attacking brand of football, and that's what we got to be ready for. Thank you. Appreciate it.